your space with your host, Hannah Arinito. I hope you are enjoying your Sunday evening. We are excited to be joining you today. Now, as usual, this is a platform that gives young people an opportunity to express themselves in regards to the conversations around the fight against corruption. But we also create a space in order for the young people to be able to have a conversation with the people that matter in regards to this fight. With us in studio today are some very amazing people who are going to introduce themselves, and then we'll just dive into today's conversation. Hello to you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Anna. My name is Rosemary Namleme. I work with the Inspectorate of Government and Exquisite Solutions Namave. In my free time, if I'm not at work, I'm in Rotary. I'm the president-elect of the Rotaract Club of Webaja. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today, Rose. I'm excited because we now have somebody that is one of us that is really in the business of the fight against corruption. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Hannah. My name is Isaiah Mpirumcha. I'm a former student leader at Makerere University. Currently, I'm practicing valuation under Office of the Chief Government Valuer. Happy to be with you today.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Isaiah. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Hannah. I am Patricia Achano Kiria, Deputy Inspector General of Government. I'm excited to be part of this conversation today, most especially that Rosemary has joined us today.
Yes. So today's conversation is about youth as catalysts in the fight against corruption. How can we be innovative and creative within this space? And I think I'll start with you, Rose, for example. What is your take in regards to the way young people are taking on corruption in the country?
Thank you so much once again. If you look at the youth, we are the majority in Uganda. I read about what our Inspector General of Government said during the Anti-Corruption Day. He said that the youth, they are the ones that practice more of corruption. And we take the biggest number, almost 78%. So we have to include the biggest number that take on corruption, and that's the very real number to help us fight corruption. So for my take, the good thing is, we as the youth, we know what corruption is. We are very aware.
You think we are very aware? We are blessed generation?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Because if someone says about corruption, there is something that comes in your mind, money. Anything else can follow, but money first. But just because there is a big number of youth that are not employed, of course they have to resort to corruption to get something in their bags. But we are talking about the innovations. That means that we as the youth, we have to be innovative. We have to find out different strategies to fight against corruption in our country. We need a better Uganda. First and foremost, we are very creative. We have youth in different calibers.
Yeah.
For example, I will use more of Rotary. That's where I spend most of my time. More of Rotary.
Oh, okay.
I can use the platform of Rotary to preach about corruption, fighting against corruption. Now that is me who is in part of that. We have youth that are part of the art and culture industry. They can make plays, games, music that can
preach. Yes.
Making others aware.
Yes.
We always also organize different platforms of youth. I see girls and mentorship space. We can just get a topic, discuss about it, inform others that don't know anything about that. We can organize different community groups. I am a community practitioner. We can organize and then we go teach them, make them aware. Now, as youth, we have very many platforms where we can reach out to fight against corruption.
Later on, I'm going to come and I'll have to ask you about what are some of these platforms so that we can give some of the young people a direction on where to go. I've followed your work and I know that you're very involved when it comes to community. Later on, I want us to come back to that conversation and how somebody can join such fruitful, communities. But I'll come to you, Isaiah. Isaiah, what is your say in regards to the way young people at the moment fight corruption or understand corruption?
According to me, I think young people are doing their best in regard to fighting corruption. I've seen people using different strategies. A good number of people, they're using advocacy, using platforms like Twitter and whatsoever. But in my opinion, the most proactive or sustainable approach that we can use in this fight of corruption is do living exemplary lives.
Thank you. Yes.
And that can be done in our professions. That's possible by setting various systems in ourselves, in whatever we do. Values like integrity, upholding them. Values like contentment, upholding them. We start, we can change something.
Through being exemplary. Dr. Patricia, what unique qualities do you think make the young people essential when it comes to the fight against corruption? Because I think so many people are asking themselves, what is wrong with your space, and always asking us, the young people, to rise up. What do you think are these qualities that makes the young person watching right now feel important in this fight?
Thank you very much, Anna. I see the young people as catalysts for change, as agents for change. The young people, first of all, are full of energy.
Yes.
And like Rosemary has said, they are the majority. At the moment, they are 78% of the Ugandan population. And that gives them that unique position as people who can be involved. First of all, as catalysts of change, the young people possess unique characteristics and skills and perspectives that position them as this vital catalyst who can transform others. So they need to harness their potential, first of all. As young people, they need to understand the problem. Yes. And the problem we're talking about here is corruption. And they need to come in with those different skills, like Rosemary was sharing. They can use Twitter, they can use technology, they can use music and drama. The other day I was officiating at a debate where the young people are coming up with new creative ideas of how we, the technocrats, can actually get to deal with this problem.
Were you able to pick some new ideas from
Yes, and for me, I was very excited, very, very excited, because if you listen to them carefully as a technocrat, then you begin to think, no, I think we need to change our perspective on how we are dealing with this problem. First of all, the issue of feedback, where we are doing quite a lot and we are not giving them feedback. They do not get to know what it is we have done about certain complaints or certain cases or certain initiatives. And this reminds us of the need, the urgent need to involve the young people in the war against corruption. And that is probably the reason why this year, the International Anti-Corruption Day, basically was focusing on the responsibility, the role of the youth, in the fight against corruption. And we are basically tackling what is it that they can do? How can we use them? How can we involve them? How can we take advantage of this energy they have to help us lead this drive in the war against corruption? And we discovered that the youth, first of all, have innovative tools. They're creative, they're wired, they're full of energy, they're very, very creative, and they adapt to change. They use technology and digital tools. I've given an example here, how I have this smartphone, and I do not know most of the applications in the phone, but the young people I have at home are able to navigate and know my phone. They know my phone more than me. Me probably I'm using it for receiving calls and making calls and maybe taking pictures, but for them they can go deeper and they can use it. Then data transparency with an eye for detail. The young people have analytical skills in terms of managing data. They can leverage technology to track even the public spending. They can get to expose corrupt practices, and they can present data-driven evidence, which basically would help us be able to easily demand for scrutiny from the people who are responsible. Then the creative problem solvers. The young people have got the problem-solving skills, out-of-the-box thinking. They possess a fresh perspective on some of these issues and on long-standing issues which can really make significant impact. So this creativity can help us move this fight against corruption to another level, such as engaging citizens actively in monitoring. For instance, now the Inspectorate of Government, we have got the community monitors at the grassroots, especially in refugee hosting communities. And when you look at the community monitors, most of them are the young people. Most of them are the young people. And I like what Rosemary said about Rotary. Personally, I'm a Rotaractor. I belong to Kampala Daybreak. We use those spaces to talk about the fight against corruption. Once in a while, I'm invited to speak about the power of a legacy. We talk about integrity, how you can get to attract favor by promoting integrity and working with honesty and truthfulness and leading by example. So, and the young people really are out there to do that.
It's really a lovely time to be a young person in Uganda. Let's go in for a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back from that mini break. You are still here on Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinitwe. We are still having a lovely conversation around how we, as the young people, are the catalysts to the fight against corruption and how we have the power. I'll come to you, Isaiah, because now I want us to go into the practical aspect of it. How can young people be able to leverage their surroundings, their creativity, their innovations in order to stand against corruption? I do know you're heavily involved in regards to, I think, the leadership aspect of it. I've seen you in a couple of fellowships in regards to that. How would you advise somebody to move forward? Best of your story.
The best way that we can do that using the spaces that I'm in, the leadership, even in my profession that I do practice, is first of all, our young people need to know that corruption issues affect them more than they affect the other generations, because we're the most vulnerable group, and if there are no, let me say, medicine in the hospitals, school teachers are not attending school, we are the people that are already affected directly by corruption. So that alone, by default, requires us to be at the forefront in our places of profession. Let us be men of integrity. Let us try to live lives that we be contented with whatever we have, so that we can live within our means. The cause to corruption is being
uncontented.
Uncontentedness, You see your friend owning an iPhone, your friend going into marriage, your neighbor having a nice house. Then 1 year in practice after school, you expect to be having all the 3 years. But if you're this kind of person who is contented with whatever you do have, even when the temptations do come, you're strong enough to overcome them. That's how we can.
Rose, best of your story. I know you're in these different spaces. How did your fight against corruption start in your spaces? How have you been able to leverage those different things? Because I know there are some young people who are watching and they're asking themselves, okay, how do I become like Rose? Okay, how do I start,
Thank you so much once again, Anna. I'm a person who loves making friends everywhere I go. Because I know the person that you've made a friend is going to help you somewhere. And if you're going to preach something, you're going to start with this person. So it's like a chain. If I know Isaiah, I'm going to come preach to Isaiah about corruption. He will still go and preach to you because he has friends, I have friends, you have friends. So let it just be like a chain. Let it start from that space. Let it start from me. So if me, I know I've had at least something about corruption, then I have to use my very spaces to teach those people about corruption and how bad it is. They will come and tell you, last time, someone saw my so I told me, Rose, I saw the IGG giving a certificate. Said, okay, yes. One time I was in a taxi, then, you know, these traffic officers. Then I saw the driver giving the traffic officer some command. Then I was like, should I say something? Because I told him corruption is bad, and if you see something happening, please report to us.
Do something about it.
Then he told me, but I was very scared. Okay. What if I report or maybe make a comment about that, and then they beat me from there? So, young people, yes, we love spreading about the fight against corruption, but there are also some challenges that we face. So, me as a person, it starts with me.
So did you ever say something in the taxi at that moment?
Me, I told him, just be bold.
Okay.
Say something out because we are fighting against corruption. Don't get scared. If they do something, report to us. We shall still come in. But if you see that something is not going on right, because that person now, the driver has no driving permit. And then is going to keep on the road. He has been carelessly driving. If he's driving carelessly, it's going to knock a person. We are going to lose someone. That can be developmental in Uganda. So will it make sense if you keep quiet? No. So I keep telling them, please say out something. And we are here to receive every case, so that you can solve everything.
For you personally, Isaiah, have you faced a particular challenge?
Not really a challenge, but maybe to add on what...
You've never faced a challenge when it comes to standing for the right cause?
No.
Sure.
No.
Isaiah, I think you're one of the smoothest people. If Dr. Patricia here faces challenges, for you,
I think I have seen young people. When it comes to issues of activism, advocacy, they're usually at the forefront. They organize themselves, they quickly mobilize, and they can do that. Taking from that example, if there were 3 or 4 young people in the taxi, they would straight away start shouting, I think she's right, I think she's right. Yes. The driver must not drive us without a permit. He's putting our lives at danger. And you find that it will catch the fire. True. And later on, the driver can be put to book. Yes. So young people have historically been at the forefront of social activism. If you look at the struggle for freedom and apartheid in South Africa, who were the front runners? It was the young people. So their passion for justice and equality drives their engagement. True. Even in this anti-corruption fight, we are talking about the campaigns and the initiatives. It is the young people who basically are the drivers. So whether through protests, educational forums, or even policy advocacy, we see the young people. And we want this energy to be used in the campaign against corruption. You recall when HIV/AIDS was at its peak, and there were those drummers, the drums on radio, talking about the danger of HIV/AIDS, showing pictures of people who are dying and struggling with it. Exactly. Uganda was at the lead then in the world in the fight against HIV/AIDS.
And I think when young people try to use these different avenues like art and music, we are most times we are looked down upon. I don't know. Do you have anything to motivate some of us who are using the arts?
No, as the Inspectorate of Government, from the theme of the International Anti-Corruption Day, we are taking this on to work closely with the young people, and that is why you see me here every week, every Sunday evening, talking to you, the young people. I have talked to young people and I've started feeling like I'm also young, like I'm part of them. So I think because of the global connectivity also. Through the power of globalization and digital connectivity, these young activists can collaborate even across borders by exchanging ideas, exchanging their views, doing the peer-to-peer you talked about earlier on. And these are strategies that can be adapted even in the local context in the fight against corruption. So for us, we have rebranded the war against corruption. Previously, we said it's a people's war, but now we are saying it's a war where young people should be involved as well. Because they're the most affected. And like Isaiah said, when you go to hospital and you don't find drugs, the majority of the people who are suffering are the young people. When you go to school and there is no teacher in the class ready to teach you, it's the young person who is suffering, who is becoming a victim. When you're carrying your produce or taking your maize from the garden and you want to take to the market and the roads are not properly done, it is a young person suffering. And remember, we rely most on agriculture, that coffee, that those products like potatoes and maize and so on. People need to sell those things to take young people to school, but if they cannot access the markets, or if the money which was supposed to be used for constructing the market is eaten away by some selfish people, then at the end of the day, the actual victims of corruption is none other than the young people. So I think we need to look at it from that perspective. But the young people can be involved and preach this message and make this noise so that people begin to hate and shun corruption because of its negative effects. Just like we did with the HIV/AIDS war. Because you know, when you go to war, you organize, you scope the enemy. The young people need to know how this enemy called corruption looks like and how we can strategize and tackle the enemy.
This conversation is really moving forward as fast as possible, but our time is fast spent. We're going to have this conversation more. Keep tuned here on Your Space. But as we conclude, any final words in just a couple of 1 or 2 words, Rose? Any final words to the viewers?
My final words was try to go to the youth, and I'll repeat this again, please. Do not hesitate talking about corruption. Do not hesitate reporting about any case of corruption. Spread the information, make everyone aware. And if you need any information, we are always open to teach you about fighting against corruption. Thank you.
Yes, Isaiah, in the briefest words possible.
Thank you so much for listening to us. As in a nutshell, as we are concluding, one thing that I would leave without not mentioning is that we need to give a priority to public interest over personal interest. Having a house, having a Mercedes-Benz, having going to Bahamas for vacation cannot be compared to having just systems in place where everyone can go and find service. Where my mother in the village can go to our health center and find medicine there before she comes back. We get ways of getting her to Kampala.
As we conclude,
yes. So we need to be at the forefront as young people in this fight against corruption. Collectively, we are going to bring corruption to an end.
But they are significant agents for change in our society. And their involvement in the fight against corruption is very much appreciated. So I call upon the youth out there to be involved in one way or another through cultivating a new generation of values and integrity and transparency. I believe that we can together transform this society. So be involved. If you see a case of corruption, report. You can report as a whistleblower. You can approach our offices at any time. We have a call center which is open 24 hours. And we are open to listen to you. Let's work together to cause the change that we want to see for our country. Thank you very much.
We'll see you again next week, same time, same place, right here. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.